So the final arc of Black Clover has been something else, to say the least. Between the time skip that we had that led into Asta versus Lucius Zogratis, sending Asta to the land of the rising sun, understanding and training in their methods, learning about Ichika, Yami's sister, and everything that the land of the rising sun had to offer. And then on top of that, we had a lot of craziness ensue once we had things like, I don't know, Sister Lilly and a freaking 5-headed dragon showing up and attacking the land of the rising sun. And then on top of that, in the latest stuff, we got Edo Tensei madness going on in both the manga and the upcoming film. We got a lot to talk about because it's been a hot minute since we made one of these videos, but I do want to talk a little bit of that Black Clover right now. Boy, it felt nostalgic and classic as ever to do that. Let's do what we do best, shall we? Hey. The time is now. I must go. It's time to get out. And before we continue, if you would hit that subscribe button and that bell, I'd super appreciate it. You get my content in your inbox, and yeah, I'd get you watching. It's a win-win. Please hit them buttons. Thank you. Now, is it just me, or does it feel like the Black Clover series as a whole has felt drastically different post the battle against Lucifero? I feel like after the Lucifero fight and after the time skip, Black Clover's manga has just not been the same. It just feels like a totally different series in tone and pacing. Just everything damn near about it is not how Black Clover used to be. In fact, even in the last few chapters up until the recording of this video, we're at the end of March now, it kind of feels like Black Clover is just going on full overcharge because we're in the finale, we're in the final arc, and in general, Tabata don't gotta really hold back anymore. It's like, wow, oh wow, Black Clover is really going in, and in a very good way. Because for starters, the Land of the Rising Sun stuff, it definitely took a turn in terms of pacing for the betterment, because Black Clover has been notorious for being arguably a little too fast. Like, I always used to give the excuse that, oh, Black Clover's manga goes really quick, so that way the anime could kind of pad things up, and unfortunately the anime was going too fast with it as well, so that didn't really help much. But Black Clover's manga has been notorious for being really quick, too quick, and it's just like, what the hell? But ever since the time skip, it's felt like the pacing has been not too slow, not too fast, kind of just right. Like, you know, the porridge, you know, the mama bear, papa bear, all that porridge stuff. Like, yo, this is that just right porridge, you dig? Because as Asta's training with Ichika and slowly but surely understanding that, at the very least to Ichika's understanding, Yami did some messed up stuff in the past and pretty much seemingly slaughtered the clan, it kind of felt like, okay, this is actually giving proper pacing for not only Asta to train and understand different abilities and different techniques that the Land of the Rising Sun has to offer, but also it just didn't feel like it was doing the typical Black Clover of like, gotta rush back, gotta get this thing done. Now granted, was it as long as like a Wano, especially considering this arc has been compared very heavily to Wano? No, it looks like this arc is on its final legs in terms of Asta being away from the Clover Kingdom and all that jazz. We might have a little bit to go, but this is definitely one of the longer arcs of Black Clover and one of the more well-paced arcs of Black Clover, where it didn't rush things. Like when we finally get the reveal of Ichika and her past and the Yami clan, and the fact that Yami wasn't the one that assassinated his clan, it was Ichika, and she's kind of a little bit of a, you know, hothead, so to speak, and it was also due to Yami's father being an absolute POS, you dig? I feel like Tabata gave it the proper timing, the proper pacing. It didn't happen too quick, because I think old Black Clover, that would have been wrapped up in like 2 chapters. Old Black Clover, we would have got that whole foreshadowing and like, oh my god, did Yami really do it? And then like the next chapter would have resolved it. This one, it kind of let it cook a little bit, and I think Tabata learned a lot from a lot of the hate that he got post Lucifero, because that was one of the things with the fandom too. Let's keep it real. Let's take it back a little bit before we talk about a lot more of what happened in the more recent stuff. After the Lucifero battle, it was like, wow, because Black Clover got a lot of hate. Yuki Tabata got a lot of hate. The memes was outrageous. The Disney Clover stuff, because of how Lucifero was defeated and the fact that Lucifero didn't drop no bodies. A lot of people were like, nah, pack it up for Black Clover. And it wasn't until that last chapter where we got that Julius is actually Lucius Zogratis and that plot twist that fans came around again. Were like, all right, we kind of rock with Black Clover. But I think a lot of the hatred and unfortunate bullying that Tabata received post the battle against Lucifero, I think kind of inspired him a little bit. I think after that, Tabata was kind of like, well, I'm going into my final arc. He took a couple months off, and I think he used that time to come back and decided to write from a different standpoint. I think Black Clover, for the most part, a lot of it was, and I'll still continue to say this, that it's always been, and it still is, a love letter to the shonen genre, but I think he started to add more elements of personalizing it. Like, yeah, it's a love letter to the shonen genre, and he still constantly gives you references to this, like, idea that, yo, Black Clover is pretty much the last of the Mohicans, so to speak, in terms of, like, this type of shonen story is over with. The boy with a dream scenario of, you know, I'm gonna be the Hokage, I'm gonna be the Pirate King, I'm gonna be the Wizard King, is kind of a ramp at this point. Like, My Hero and Black Clover are the last legs, the last pillars of this generation of shonen that does that. After that, it's over. So Black Clover has always had that element of, like, it's a love letter to the shonen genre, all the badassery, all the epicness in a very quick paced style. That's what Black Clover embodied. I feel like post that, Tabata was like, okay, I've done enough of that. I'm still gonna keep on doing it, but I'm gonna add in my own elements. So when again you get Asta training with Ryu and Ichika and pretty much learning more of that Zetan and all of the things again that he learned from the Land of the Rising Sun, it feels like Black Clover, yeah, there would be training arcs, but they would be blitzing quick and really wouldn't establish anything for Asta, where I feel like this arc in particular, again, Tabata learned. He grew a lot in that little, you know, real life time skip that he had in between the Lucius reveal and the start of the time skip. Tabata really changed things up. And even though it started off very grim and all of the chaos that ensued where Asta gets blasted off by Sister Lilly, he still kept it going with kind of amping it up and making things feel a little bit more like the stakes are a lot higher than they felt in the past. And then, you know, Sister Lilly showing up to the Land of the Rising Sun, which I do feel like that may have felt a little bit quick. Like yo, she blasted him off, and then, like, I don't know, maybe 20 chapters later, she was right back at it at the Land of the Rising Sun. I do feel like Tabata even made those aspects of, you know, Asta and them going up against Sister Lilly feel a little more meaningful. It feels like even though Asta was denied and rejected by her, I feel like there's a message in all of that now that I think about it. Like, yeah, sure, Asta was rejected by her, but he didn't allow it to break him. He didn't make it change him or change the way he looked at Sister Lilly. He more so encompassed it and still, like, I still love her. And even when, you know, she was under the possession of Lucius and attacked the Land of the Rising Sun and was going out with Asta, he still showed her nothing but love and mercy because he still cares for her. So I think there's a lesson in and of itself that, I mean, you could take it to the basic form of, hey, if a girl turns you down, that doesn't mean you gotta be an asshole to her, you know what I'm saying, bro? So kudos to Tabata. I feel like that's an important lesson that a lot of manga and anime fans probably should take heed with. I know you're probably like, not you, okay, not you, but what about that dude over there? You dig? And it's kind of madness that despite the fact that Yami has not been present in the manga for a bit now, or they recently started re-showing him again as they've, you know, panned over to what's been going on in the Clover Kingdom, but even without Yami being there, I like that Tabata utilized that whole dark past of his clan and what happened and how they were slaughtered and kind of keeping the mystery and suspense going, because a lot of us were like, no way, Yami ain't do that shit, bro. No way is Yami on some Itachi stuff, because it could have gotten even more grim, so to speak. But I think once again, this is just another example of Tabata writing a love letter to shonen fans of like, yo, y'all remember that Itachi stuff? I'm gonna play with it a little bit. You're gonna think it's the Itachi stuff. Oh no, it was actually the younger sister and this, that, and the third, and there was an abusive dad. So he took the scenario, he took the blueprint, so to speak, and made his own way with it. And that's something that I'm always gonna praise Black Clover for, that it'll give you something that is reminiscent to the things you appreciate from the shonen genre, but it'll flip it on its head. Like, again, that backstory with the Yami clan, like, big shout outs to how he did it. It was grim, it was gruesome. It also built a bridge of understanding between Ichika and Asta, because initially Ichika's like, why are you praising that man's? Hold up, don't be praising that man's in my presence. To, I'm sorry, you could praise him if you want. I was the person that did that messed up shit. Although I don't know if I'd say it was completely messed up, considering at the very least Yami's pops deserve what happened to him. He was too much, dog. He had to get dealt with for what he was doing. He at the very least needed to get spanked, bro. And let's address an elephant in the room that's been recently introduced into the manga over the last couple of chapters. The fact that Yuki Tabata's Black Clover has somewhat of an Edo Tensei going on. Now, if you don't know about Edo Tensei, you never read the final arcs of Naruto, or I think that was actually early on in even original Naruto, now that I think of it. Edo Tensei, when Orochimaru brought back the previous Hokages, is basically something where characters that were dead are revived and they're fighting, and oftentimes, depending on who's the caster, their will can be controlled and a whole bunch of other stuff. And a lot of people are once again making comparisons with Black Clover and Naruto of, hey, wow, now we got Edo Tensei in the manga as well. He's bringing back Aesir, he brought back Morris, he brought back Morgan, Morgan, although Morris kind of was already, I don't even know, did Morris 100% die? I can't remember that, but Morgan for sure was a massive shock. In my live reaction stream, I was kind of blown away when I saw Morgan. At first I was like, how he got knocked was evil all along? I thought my old theories from like 2020 came to fruition. I knew it, but it was in fact his twin brother Morgan, and likewise with Aesir, did not see that coming at all. And again, it's kind of homage to a certain degree the Edo Tensei that was used in Naruto, except he kind of even split it further, because not only do we have that happening in the manga, but if you haven't seen it, I talked about the trailers and whatnot as well. In the latest trailer for the Black Clover movie, there's an Edo Tensei thing going on for the previous Wizard Kings. They apparently died and yet they've returned, so they're also brought back as well. And I could definitely see the comparisons there, but I'm gonna stick with, once again, that it's not only Naruto that Tabata uses for inspiration. We just had a whole debacle on Twitter of people calling out Black Clover because on the latest cover of Shonen Jump, Asta's with his arm to his back pulling out a sword, similar to a cover of Shonen Jump where Ichigo from Bleach was pulling his sword from his back as well. So it is what it is. It's a love letter to the shonen genre. How many times I gotta say that? I don't know. I just feel like I gotta keep on stressing it, because Black Clover just, it's overhated, and all of that hatred is outdated. Okay, maybe you could still kind of say it because I see the comparisons, but come on, man, come on. Now that I think about it, I just realized it was super on accident, but I'm wearing a Black Clover shirt to talk about some Black Clover. Let's go. And Tabata ain't playing with y'all. Y'all made all those Mickey Mouse jokes, ha ha ha. In the latest couple chapters, he's been dropping bodies. Jack the Ripper just got pierced straight through, and it seems as though it was somewhat confirmed that he is, Rip, so to speak. Likewise with what happened with William Vanges getting dusted off as well, which is kind of like, I don't know if Tabata will go through it, keeping them both down for the count. At the very least, I could see him keeping it for, I was going to say for Jack the Ripper, but William Vanges, considering the fact that everything that he did in the Elf arc and betraying the kingdom by not telling everybody, hey, I got pottery in my head making me do these things, you could throw the argument that maybe Tabata might not feel like he deserves redemption after this, and this is his redemption in a way of like, yeah, he did what he did and he risked himself for the sake of the Clover Kingdom, and that was it for him. Likewise though with Jack the Ripper, because goddamn dog, Jack the Ripper just got ripped, yo. But something majorly that is happening right now in the Black Clover manga is, unfortunately, Asta's rival, just in the midst of this whole grandiose war against Lucius Zogratis and all of these Edo Tenseis that he brought back, yeah, his rival has surpassed him once again, because even though Asta was promoted with the time skip in the beginning, they had that big ceremony that Asta went up in ranks. Now Yuno has surpassed him yet again, because now Yuno is the captain of the Golden Dawn, appointed by William Vanges on his dying words. Although, let's keep it a buck, we also have Mimosa waiting in the wings that, yeah, you throw Mimosa and she can warp realities and stuff like that. So who knows if William Vanges and Jack the Ripper are actually at stake at this point, unless something happens to Mimosa, which nothing's happening to Mimosa, let's keep it a buck. So yeah, we'll see in that aspect, and I like to keep my expectations real. Not that I personally think death is needed in a series. I think that that's also something that should be an outdated and antiquated thought when we're reading and watching anime and manga. Is like, why is death needed? Oh, it makes it real. But isn't the whole point of these stories like that the main character's objective is to make sure nobody dies, or at the very least as minimal as possible? Like, that's the whole premise of these stories, is to keep people with, faith that things can turn out okay. So yeah, I don't know why people are like, I need these tragedies. I need to feel depressed while reading these stories that I look for to escape, escapism and enjoy. But that's a whole other rabbit hole we don't have to go down right now. I kind of said what needed to be said. Stop worshiping and being bloodthirsty about death in manga. Like, chill out with it. If it happens, it happens. If Jack the Ripper and William Vanges are dead, then they're dead. If not, it's already been shown that Mimosa has these god tier powers anyway, you dig? And as it stands right now, the Black Clover manga is going into overdrive with this massive battle of Yuno versus Lucius. Also, Yuno having newfound powers, which, yeah, we definitely need an explanation on how he was pulling. Damn near kind of reminded me of when Julius saved the kingdom when he was fighting against Patri, and he kind of stopped all those swords from dropping down down and whatnot when he had the stars in the sky right now. I was like, okay, we need a big explanation on that, although it was kind of somewhat hinted, and I think it was the previous arc, if I'm not mistaken, in the war against Lucifero and whatnot, that he started to understand his star powers. And considering we had a time skip, I don't get how the time skip doesn't explain, hello, he trained in those 2 years, yeah. But as it stands right now, where we're at with the manga, it is Yuno versus Lucius Zogratis. It is going down. It is massively hype, and I'm looking forward to it. I think that unfortunately Yuno is probably not going to get the W, but I think he could at the very least find Lucius's weakness to help Asta get the W, because personally I don't think, and I don't necessarily want it to be that Asta gets the W either. I think it needs to be a battle in unison. So Yuno right now can go up against Lucius, find some weakness if possible. He's going to probably take the L. Asta returns, and then it'll be Asta and Yuno together to finish him off, because also right now, let's not forget that Yuno is not going to be 100% with his mind exactly where it needs to be for this battle, because this is personal. Not only has Lucius messed with, like he just dropped William Vengeance right in front of him, everything that he did in the Clover Kingdom, blasting Asta away, but also he did stuff to his family. He's partially responsible for everything that happened to his, blood family all back in the day. So yeah, I don't know if Yuno can fight completely without thinking, I want to rip his head off. But I guess we gotta wait and see. Either way, let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about Black Clover's manga as it's been with this final arc, everything that's been ensuing thus far, and your overall thoughts and expectations for Yuno versus Lucius and the finale of this series? And I guess a lot of the things that I pointed out, like the Edo Tensei between the manga and movie right now, it's a love letter to the shonen genre, and I'm fine with it. So laugh for this one. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Subscribe and hit that bell to get more, yeah. If the wolves could talk, they would probably read Bleak, and I'd probably say, bitch, get the fuck off me.